For today's video, I'm going to show you my graphic settings, my keyboard and mouse settings, and my controller settings, even though I don't really use controller a lot with SPLITGATE 2. I'm not going to give you some crazy intro, we're just going to jump right into it. I play on window full screen because I have two monitors. I don't like having the alt tab out and the screen acts all funky when I do that. For build specs, by the way, for my PC, I have a 4090 and a 9800X 3D DDR5 RAM, the whole 9 yards. With the computer myself, I just don't remember the names of all of my parts off the top of my head. I play with everything on high, but portal frame rate and portal quality, because I feel like these are actually going to affect your FPS the most. Being on the 4090, I don't really have to try to like play, I guess, at competitive settings for a good frame rate. Heck, I can run everything on ultra and still get an extremely high frame rate. Now, I do wish we had an FPS counter in this game, so I didn't have to use external software to calculate my frames, because to be frank, I'm not sure how many I'm getting, but it definitely feels above 200, so that's neither here nor there. But I play with everything on high and low. I'm sorry for the low spec people that come to this video. I run on an extremely powerful build, so forgive me. I can see through portals. I never even considered de-checking this, to be perfectly honest. I play with AMD FSR 3. I just feel like that looks the best. I use this in COD and other shooters when it's an option. We play on balanced with the sharpness set to about 90 or so. I haven't maxed it at 100, didn't like it at 70 or 80. 90 feels about right. So if I ever do change that, maybe we'll make an updated video. No frame generation methods. I don't like fake frames. They cause input lag, and frankly, they just make the game look awful. We're not going to give fake frames to a game that, in my personal experience, doesn't need additional frames. And then I don't use low latency. Should I? That's actually a question I'm going to ask you guys, because I don't think I need to use it considering my build. But if it does give an advantage, let me know. Next, we're going to swap over to the keyboard. I use crouch, hold for C. I've been thinking about switching into control, though, for those jump crouch slides that the BR really lets you take advantage of because of the icy arenas where you move a little bit faster on the slippery terrain and all of the ramps and stuff. That's subject to change potentially. Sprint, I use it with a hold sprint with left shift, although I do have it set to also when I start sprinting, I can let go of shift and just keep sprinting. Silly settings, I guess, but this is what I usually use in every single video game, so I guess that's just personal preference. For creating portals, the alternate, I use a mouse button for that, and then for closing both, I use the back mouse button for that. Now, I will say I'm using the glorious Model i2, which actually is 3 mouse buttons, which is probably a little hard to see. That forward mouse button is actually a home button. I've never used it before. It's just in an awkward spot, to be honest, so I just stick to the 2 back ones. And then I use X for switching alternate portals, but I really do this. I usually just constantly portal. I never try to actually alternate between them, so I think that's up to personal preference. And then I don't mess with these other like individual portal settings. I like having 1 button for portaling and 1 button for closing. Keep it simple. For my weapon cycle, I use E. That's what I use in all of my games. Melee, I actually click my mouse wheel in for that because I just like having all of my attack options for any game be on the hand that I'm attacking with and not the hand that I use for movement, equipment, interactions. That's just my philosophy for it anyway. Reload is R. Aim down sights, obviously right. Fire is left mouse button. My equipment is G. Faction ability is Q. And then my primary and secondary weapons are 1 and 2, but I don't really press these that often. Ping is V, interact is F, and then my inspect is I. Next, for push to talk, we use T, text chat is enter, scoreboard is tab, and the comms wheel, which is like your emotes, your spray, and even your inspect option, that's B. You have to hold B down. Okay, so my actual controller settings, I have actually never personally really messed with. I find controller to be really awkward, if we're going to be honest, like the portal closing being this, having to move my thumb over to the D-pad for basically any of those kind of interactions, it just feels weird. When I do play this game on controller, I use a SCUF. I have 4 paddles on the bottom right here, so usually this right bottom one is jump, this top one right here is weapon swap, this bottom one on my left middle finger right here, as you can see, that's clicking it, that's crouch, and then the one above it right here is my reload option, so I don't have to move my thumbs at all off of my right thumbstick. I just find that to be the more competitive and just better option in general whenever I use a controller. I haven't really messed with these settings too much, but I wanted to show them anyway because I do use a SCUF for these particular configurations, and it kind of helps with not having to change them, I guess. So I have been thinking about swapping a couple of these inputs around, especially the portal closing ones, but I just find mouse and key I find it better. I find it better on this game. I think you should give it a shot if you're a dedicated controller player, if you can. So I don't really mess with these settings too much, unfortunately. And that's it for the keyboard and controller inputs. Now, just for the general input settings, I run on 3.17 for the horizontal and 3.31 for the vertical with a 0.75 zoom with a 500 DPI. I'm struggling with this, to be honest. I've been having a hard time kind of figuring out that nice sweet spot. I see people just flick it and they're fast, and I just can't seem to get that right yet. So I'm going to keep playing around with these settings a little bit more. Auto sprint is on, auto jetpack is on, which I actually didn't even realize I had on, to be honest. I just pressed the jetpack button. But for controller, I actually did mess with the sensitivity. We're on 6.6 right now, with this being on 0.80, and then the dead zones at 0.12 and 0.10, with the response curve being exponential. I don't invert any of my directions. I don't do that at all. Acceleration times, we kind of left all of this alone for the most part, and we also have auto sprint and auto jetpack on. Vibration on, because I feel like vibration will just make you terrible at the game. My volume settings, I use voice meter to manage my audio, so this is strictly personal preference. These are additional settings that I've never messed with: the enable blood portal swapping, smart portal swapping, and showing enemy team colors. I don't really see a reason to mess with that personally, but if you want to, by all means, go ahead. And then what else do we have? Crossplay is enabled, of course. Let's go to the crosshairs. This is super personal preference. I'm actually going to change my SFG one to this. I don't really like the circle anymore. Well, I just applied it to all. Crap. Okay, well, what I was using for this was this. What I was using for the burst rifle, I think, was this. I would also use the dot for this. I think that's also a really, really good idea. And then for this shotty, I mean, we could just use the default. All right, so I had to mess with these again because I just broke them by accident on video. I don't even think these were exactly what they were, but now that I'm actually like taking time to look through them, I think this is what I would use for these basic weapons anyway. And I also like how the bat actually has a reticle that you can use. But I think for the most part, I was actually using defaults for all of these. So that's just down to personal preference, really. I don't think this is going to mess with me, though. I'll have to fix these later. So enemy colors are set to red. Crosshair colors are, well, enemy crosshair colors are set to red. And then crosshair colors by default are set to white. And then just a little bit of an example of what I mean by when I say I can't figure out my sensitivity properly. I'm going to throw us into an arena quick play for like a couple of seconds just to show you like what it feels like. I feel like I have to flick my mouse and my mouse like across my mouse pad too hard. I feel like in its current state, I have to flick my mouse like way too hard across like a very great distance on my mouse pad. And it just ends up messing me up a little bit because I hit the edge of my mouse pad. And then I don't know, like I feel like I need to up my sensitivity. Then when I do that, it feels worse. There's like a weird sweet spot you gotta find. And so here we are. One full flick, like to do a full 360, takes me to the edge of my mouse pad.
Okay, capture and defend the zones to score. Let's dominate them.
I don't know if I like this or not. It just feels so strangely consistent to me sometimes. But the movement feels good though, which I think is a positive.
Opponent is taking C. Enemy is scoring in 2 zones.
But I also feel like I lose control of that like sensitivity way too quickly. Like I feel like I have to overcorrect. When I had it lower at like the lower DPL, let's like say 400 right here. I felt like it was more controllable, but I also have to flick a greater distance. So I think that comes with a little bit more unfamiliarity with keyboard and mouse play since I usually use controllers. I don't know why he didn't just move, but this feels way more controllable.
Guardian Angel. We are taking C. Opponent is taking A.
I don't know how I'm alive right now. Yeah, this feels way more controllable. It's also a good like idea that I guess like a good way for me to show my settings in action. Thank you, teammate.
We're taking the enemy is scoring in 2 zones. We're taking
I don't know how he didn't get that kill.
B secured. We got 2 zones.
Double kill. Heating up. B lost.
Opponent is taking B. Opponent
Where
is
did he
taking
just
A.
go? Did he go behind me?
Opponent
That was kind of
is taking
confusing.
C.
A secured.
Opponent has got a
I don't know. The 400 DPI feels a little bit better.
Opponent is taking
It feels like I can control my gunfights a little bit better.
Opponent is taking C. We're taking B.
But it feels like I really have to like try.
Opponent is taking C.
I use the Gravitas. Okay. It feels like I really have to try with these particular settings. I'm not going to edit this video too much because I want it to be a little bit more raw than most of my other videos.
Scoring at one zone.
I don't know. This might be the sweet spot that I'm looking for.
Opponent is taking A.
That Gravitas is so insane, man. It's just an easy,
Taking C.
easy set of kills, man. That guy's name is SPLITGATE Pro 1.
Taking A.
C secured.
Just got a zone. Enemy is scoring in 2 zones.
My goodness gracious, man. I had to play against some of the sweatiest people to kind of like showcase these settings, unfortunately. But it is what it is, man. It's late night.
C locked.
Oh my goodness.
We're
Holy moly. I literally spawned in on the entire enemy team right there. Okay.
taking- Opponent just got a zone. We're scoring in 2 zones.
Double kill. Payback.
Uh.
They're close to the scoring limit. We have to stop them.
Ooh. I almost got him right there.
B.
I don't know, man. When I'm playing against SPLITGATE Pro, it's like, what are you really supposed to do right here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, man. I did intend for that game to be long, so forgive me for cutting it kind of short right there. But anyways, guys, those are my SPLITGATE settings, my controller and mouse settings, and my graphic settings. Let me know what you think about them in the comments down below, guys. And if you like this video, leave a like on it. Sub to the channel because we are almost at 4,000 subscribers on JFPS. And hey, I hope I see you in the next video. This has been Jay. I hope you have a great day. Peace.